Hi, this is Tony Clarkson and Michael Reccia of the Sanctuary. We're doing question and answers, and I have a question here from Philip and Karen Sumner.
Hi, Philip and Karen.
Hi, Phil. I know Philip well from our meditations. He comes on all our meditations, and it's thank you so much for your question. I have cut the question a little bit short, Philip, to the actual what you're asking. I hope that's okay with you. So here we go. Why do we decide to come back here, especially if you have spent a lot of your life thinking, I don't want to come back here, with issues like people thinking they have unfinished business here, if it's with another soul? Can't issues be sorted out in the spirit realm rather than here? And there's a second part to this. Shall I read that now,
Yes,
Michael?
please, Tony,
Okay.
yeah.
Can soulmates be on a different path? For example, as far as I am aware, I am married to my soulmate, and she doesn't appear to be interested in the spiritual side of things.
Right, okay. So the first part of the question is why do we choose to come back here? We choose to come back here dependent on what the dominant traits in our consciousness are. Are they the angelic and spiritual traits, or are they the material and physical traits? So it depends on what our approach to life has been during our current incarnation. Have we only sought to look at the material? Have we only sought to look at the physical? And as a result of that, have those things become the dominant attractions in our lives? If they have, then when we move over, we are still attracted to them. We have a choice, of course. We are advised on that side to move onwards through the spiritual cleansing spheres and to rid ourselves of that need to come back. But for many people, that need is more dominant than the need to investigate the spiritual side of things. And so we come back. The key to not coming back, in my view and in Joseph's view, is to investigate our spirituality whilst we're here, to be open to spiritual concepts, not to swallow everything that we're told to swallow spiritually, but to investigate for ourselves and to make our own minds up, but at least to investigate. Many people say, that's not for me. I don't believe in that. There's nothing after death. That's nonsense. And by doing that, you shut off your mind to possibility. And so we have to keep an open mind. We have to look at what is being said about the afterlife. We have to look at the evidence for the afterlife, and then we have to decide for ourselves which aspects of that evidence are right for us and we can take on board. And as we do that, our mind becomes looser in that it is more open to concepts that we haven't considered before. And we add to those concepts and we build up a picture of what comes next, which helps us when we move on from here, in that we are already predisposed to considering a spiritual journey rather than a material one. Now, with soulmates, are soulmates always on the same path? On a spiritual level, yes, they are. On a spiritual level, yes, they are. But we have to understand that we have two aspects to our being. We have a spiritual being and we have a material personality. And the material personality is influenced when we come back here by the karma that is in the ether around us that we haven't yet moved away from. It's there as a record in the very fabric of this material world because we haven't, as a result of the fall, dispersed those vibrations that have affected us in the past. So when we come back on a personality level, we draw towards ourselves similar vibrations to those that we exhibit as the material being that we are at that point. And so we slowly but surely draw around ourselves the karma that we haven't stepped away from in past lives. So we are influenced on a material level by that karma. It crowds in around us until we sort it out, as it were. And so you can have two people with the same spiritual plan, and that is immutable. That's not going to change. But their personality, which whilst they are here, is the dominant side of their being for the most part, influences them in different ways and can pull at them in different ways. So it doesn't mean because you look at things in one way and your partner, your soul mate, looks at things in a different way materially, that you're on a different path. You've come here with the same spiritual plan in mind, but there are many, many distractions on the earth plane. My mission, and that sounds a very elevated word, but my reason for being here is to do what I'm doing. Now, as a young man, I was pulled off course, or the field of human consciousness that is set to negative, attempted to pull me off course on numerous occasions. And had I gone along those paths, I wouldn't be doing now, today, what I should be doing. My mission would have remained the same, but my personality would have been pulled away from that mission by the pull of the earth. And fortunately, in my case, it was a case of how did I get into this situation? And with a bound, he was free because I had help. And I had help from some of the guiding influences that were around me. And at the point at which I thought this situation is not right for me, I was very quickly out of that situation. But then, until I recognized that there was a karmic pattern going on, every 3 years, without fail, I would steep myself in a similar situation. Different people, different location, but exactly the same challenge. So my point is that the plan remains the same, but there are many temptations and many distractions along the road, along that path. So we have to be aware of that. But definitely, two soulmates, they've got the same plan in mind, the same intention in mind, and that intention is pure. That intention doesn't change. What changes and what can cloud that path is the physical and the temptations of the physical and the physical crowding in with a determination to cloud that path, so that path of bringing light into the world becomes harder to tread.
Thank you, Michael. I think that'll be a great relief to a lot of people, not just Philip.
Hopefully.
So thank you for that answer.
Thank you, Philip.